What is up, Internet world, and welcome back to the channel. Today I bring the best compact SUVs of 2022. First off, we have not driven any Toyotas, so you will not see the Toyota RAV4 on this list. Also, this list doesn't include any luxury product. It's just stuff that most people can afford, but maybe not get. Something we do not talk about is rates. Now, you might absolutely love the Hyundai Tucson, but you end up buying a Ford Escape because of rates. 0% versus 7% is enough to buy something you don't like. That's why we ain't talking about it. So we're gonna start off with everybody else's opinion first and then give you ours. So here's the list of everybody else. So let's start off with cars.us news, and rounding off number 5 is the Subaru Forester. Then they've got the Ford Bronco Sport, the CR-V in third, the Tucson in second place, and their number 1 choice is the Mazda CX-5. And then we have Car and Driver, and number 5 is the Bronco Sport, then the CR-V, the Tucson, the Volkswagen Tiguan, and number 1 is, you guessed it, Mazda CX-5. And then we have Kelly Blue Book. That's a little bit complicated because they split up their hybrids, their prime, and their regulars. So we'll start off at the bottom, and it starts off with the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid. Works its way up to the Kia Sportage Hybrid, then the RAV4 Prime, the Audi Q5. That's not exactly affordable, unless of course you're buying the base one. And then you have the Honda CR-V Hybrid, and at the top of the list you have, you got it, the Honda CR-V. And then we have Motor Trend. At number 5 is the Toyota RAV4. Next up is the Mazda CX-5, and then, surprisingly, the Nissan Rogue. Moving up to number 2, you have the Subaru Forester, and at number 1, you have, of course, the Honda CR-V. And then we have TrueCar. Coming in at number 5 is the Ford Escape. And at number 4 is the Honda CR-V. Number 3, for the first time ever, is the Lexus NX. And then you have the Hyundai Tucson at number 2, and the winner chicken dinner is the Kia Sportage. Now this is a very, very busy space. There's a ton of vehicles in this compact SUV lineup, but the usual suspects, Honda, Toyota, and Mazda, always seem to make it to the top. So here's our list, our top 5. Let's go. Now before we show you this list, we want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, the subscribe button. Yep, that thing down there. We don't talk about nothing on Accelerate try to sell you anything except hitting that button. Go ahead. Are you uncomfortable yet? You gotta hit that button. Coming in at number 5 is probably the most uninteresting looking SUV out there, and that is the Volkswagen Tiguan. And the reason I picked it is because it has really good build quality when you get in it. It's very German of sorts. Even though it's not built in Germany, it feels very solid. Thump. Like, it's so thumpy. And the other thing about it I like is it doesn't look like it's gonna age terribly. Unlike the Tucson, which almost came in at number 5. Ian was like, you gotta pick the Tucson, it's way better than the Tiguan. And I said, I agree with you on the inside, but on the outside, the Tiguan just looks more elegant. However, when you get behind the wheel of a Tiguan, it is very lethargic. There is no hybrid option. And also this driver's display has a really big outline to it. It feels like an afterthought, in my opinion, where the Tucson completely destroys it. So it was a really tight race, but in the end, I had to pick Tiguan because it has an optional third row. And for some families, that's important. Maybe it is for you. Another interesting point about the Tiguan is about the eyeballs it gets. I don't mean on the street, I mean on YouTube. It's our most viewed compact SUV on our channel. It's creeping up to almost 1 million views. I would think the Sportage would get that, something that has more traction, even the CR-V. But no, the Tiguan got it. So this next one is a bit of a surprise. A surprise is the truth, because I was not expecting it to be as good as it was. So it does deserve some clout on this list. Coming in at number 4 is the Mitsubishi Outlander. I know, you're scratching your head, but here are the reasons. Now, it is based off a Rogue platform. It has a ton of pieces that remind you of the Nissan Rogue, including how well it actually drives and how quiet it is. That is the Rogue's #1 benefit.
Perfect for those that don't want to drive fast. And it's really good suspension though. Oh, good suspension.
And that Outlander has the exact same piece with the exception that it looks different. Not everybody on the road has one, and you will get better interest rates when you buy a Mitsubishi over buying a Nissan. Especially a Nissan that is popular, one of the most popular Nissans they sell.
40, 50, 60. That was scary.
The Outlander might be Mitsubishi's best seller, but what about you as a consumer? Is it worth spending that extra money on the Rogue over the Outlander in terms of rates? Or should you just buy the Rogue in the first place? So you're probably gonna get hit hard when it comes to resale of the Outlander in comparison to the Rogue just due to popularity. But if you're keeping cars for a long time, it doesn't really matter. And if you need a third row, well, the Outlander is for you. And if you want something that's fast, well, the one we drove was pretty gutless.
CVT must stand for a complete waste of a transmission.
But now they have a hybrid model, or a plug-in hybrid model, I should say. And when you have that option, maybe that'll negate the fact that it's slow.
And then of course is the warranty. It's one of the best backed warranties out there. So that's one reason to buy it. And that's why people buy them. Because good deals, good warranty.
Coming in at number 3 is probably one of the most popular SUVs on the planet. Everybody knows its name and everybody wants to get their hands on one. The CR-V. Now the CR-V is all new for 2023, and luckily enough we got our hands behind the wheel to drive the all new 1.5 liter turbocharged engine that is gutless. I feel like the gutless vibe is the same across most of the cars in this segment because everybody cares about fuel mileage and not about what we care about, which is driving dynamics and acceleration. But the reason we like the CR-V is because it is updated, and of course the resale value is monstrous. Now aesthetically speaking, the CR-V is very close to the Tiguan. It's got that mature, clean line look. There's nothing poppy or edgy about it, and I think it will age pretty well, especially when you decide to resell it, because that's how strong CR-Vs are. You can drive it for 3 years, pretty much get most of your money back, and then jump into another one. All you have to do is wait. Now, an option package the CR-V does not offer is the off-road package, and other brands do offer it, so maybe that'll have buyers look elsewhere due to its price. Now, when I jump inside the CR-V, I will say I love its minimalist approach. It's very clean, very easy to use, and it feels very modern Honda. With the exception of the infotainment screen, it seems like an iPad just stuck there, and in today's world, I feel like it should be a bit more integrated. I do like the vents, they're similar to the Civic, just a little bit of a different trim pattern. Coming in at number 2 is another one that you probably don't think should be on this list. Its brother should, but not this one, is the CX-50 by Mazda. So if you do know Mazda's lineup, you're probably expecting me to say the CX-5 because that lines up with everything else I've just talked about. But no, the CX-50, it's rugged. It's built on a slightly different platform, but it handles better. It's got this long hood. It's just a lot more unique. I think if you're gonna buy something in this segment that's highly crowded, you might wanna look at something that's different, but it doesn't stop there. It's got a great motor that allows you to put premium and regular. When you put regular, you get 227 horsepower, and when you put in premium, you get 256 horsepower. It's not run by a CVT, there's an actual transmission in it. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the dash. It's got this weird vinyl piece across the front that kind of looks like the CR-V, except the CR-V are vents, and this one is this cheapy fake leather. Now, we didn't get the chance to drive the 187 horsepower version, but that's not the one we're gonna buy anyways. The person that's gonna buy this is gonna want it pretty much fully loaded. I really like the CX-50. I love the way it looks on the outside with the 20s. It looks lowered. It looks like a slammed hatchback, which is awesome. Also, when the power trunk is up, you have more length inside than you have in the CX-5. And when you get the larger engine, you can tow 3,500 pounds. That's a big one. So when you put that all together, it's well deserved at our number 2 spot. Now, some might complain about the stiff ride, but me personally, I love it. I love that the steering wheel is a little bit heavier to turn. As drivers, that's what you want. You don't want something that's super easy and super light. Now, the other thing I do like about it is the fact that it does not have a DCT, because when you're off-roading it, they tend to sort of burn out and overheat. So that's something that you'd like to know when you have that question on why it does not have a dual clutch gearbox. Also add to that fact that it is more reliable, and they have it in the Mazda 3 Turbo, which is what Ian drives. But one of my biggest pet peeves about this car is the infotainment. It is not touchscreen unless you have Apple CarPlay on. Otherwise, you're just relegated to use this rotary knob on the bottom, and it's a little bit sort of dated. Now, a lot of people do like that, but not me. Coming in at number 1, drum roll please. We filmed this compact SUV in one of the most beautiful places in the world. Take a look. Yes, you got that right. The Kia Sportage is the #1 compact SUV for you to buy based on our opinions here on Accelerate. There are 3 powertrain variants in the Kia Sportage. The first one is all engine. It's a 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that makes 177 horsepower, and that's the one we drove out in Wonderland. Next up is what most people are used to, and that is a hybrid. That makes 227 horsepower, and that was available at the same time as when we drove ours. But the newest thing they make is the plug-in hybrid, and that makes a whopping 261 horsepower. That is a ton of power, and when you plug it into the wall, you get about 55 kilometers worth of range. One of the greatest things about the Sportage, which is like a double-edged sword, is its design. It's very modern, futuristic, and it's different than the rest, especially the Tiguan or the CR-V, and that might hurt it in the future. The design might age really quick actually, and that's probably one of the downsides of buying a Sportage. Not in 2023, but maybe in 2025. When you jump on the inside of the Sportage, it's as futuristic as the outside. It's got this nice long display panel. It even has the most ingenious way to switch from HVAC to radio controls, which a lot of people don't like, but I love it. It started off in the EV6 and now it's in the Sportage, and it's cool because it only requires 1 line of buttons. It doesn't require 2 lines or buttons scattered all over the front center console. Everything on the inside looks really futuristic. You have these curved vents, a curved screen, you have places to hang your shopping bags on the back of the seat. It's just so much more up to date, and it feels so modern and new, especially compared to the new CR-V that just got launched about a year after the Sportage did. If you got into a Sportage today and you got into a CR-V today, you would think the Sportage is built now and the CR-V was built 2 years ago. But one of the biggest downsides about buying a Sportage that everybody knows with the Kia Hyundai product lineup is that when you get the larger screen, you do not get wireless CarPlay or Android Auto. You have to get the smaller screen because the big boys have to plug it in. So you spend all the money you can when you buy the most loaded Sportage, and you still have to plug your phone in to get wireless CarPlay. That's a tough one. That's probably the hardest thing to overcome. Another downside that some people may think about is it's not a Honda or Toyota, which sounds crazy, but some people are still infatuated with the fact that Hondas and Toyotas are the most reliable vehicles on the planet. Now, I will tell you that Kia has one of the longest powertrain warranties in the business if you live in the US. You get 10 full years. So if you have peace of mind buying a Honda or Toyota, well, now you have peace of mind on paper when you buy a Kia. The other thing is they don't have CVT, so that should make you breathe easy, because at least your transmission may not fail. So to recap, our top compact SUV of 2022, coming in at number 5 is the Tiguan. Number 4 is the Mitsubishi Outlander. Number 3 is the Honda CR-V. Number 2 is the Mazda CX-50, and coming in at number 1 is the Kia Sportage.